If you're interested in how technology is reshaping inclusion in agriculture, join Muhammad Sultan Raja right here in the main hall. If leadership and personal transformation, and I really hope you understand what I'm saying, personal transformation interests you, Ms. Fariha Salahuddin will be with us in Ballroom A. I urge you to go take a look. And if you'd like to explore the evolving balance of leadership energies and the symbolic evolution of WIBCON itself, please join Ms. Faryal Sethi. She'll be in the Dilkusha Hall right near the other entrance. So folks, if you have chosen to go, we request you to all please reconvene for the last closing remarks. And the closing remarks are going to be magic. I promise. Okay? So we are about to begin our breakout sessions, which will be concluded in another 20 odd minutes. And after that, we'll reconvene over here for those who stepped out and witness magic. For the moment, I'd like to give up the floor for Mr. Muhammad Sultan Raja, right over here. Sultan. Yes, let's hear a round of applause for Sultan, please. Thank you, Ji. There he is. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. Let's just wait for the slides to show. All right, Ji. My name is Sultan. I head AI and digital at Syngenta, Pakistan. Almost all of the sessions today have been some way, one way or the other, about access. Access to information. We've talked about access to safety, access to leadership, and access to opportunity, perhaps. But when you talk about inclusiveness, I think the key idea here is that inclusiveness is decided who has the access. And I want to add one more access to the list, that is access to intelligence, which is quietly changing perhaps all of the other accesses that we just talked about. So the future of inclusion really is whoever has access to intelligence and who does not. So I think having that understanding, that we will be talking about what access to intelligence really means along this discussion, perhaps. Now, for the most part of the computational history of computing systems, intelligence was always a very closely guarded thing. You had to learn language to talk to machines. So, people spend years and years learning coding, for example, so they can speak to the machines and they can interact with machines, co-work on ideas and build. This is the first time in history of computational systems the machine speaks our language. Let's just take a moment to absorb that. I think it has a very profound implication. The machines can understand human intent, and you call that AI. And that's what you hear about, and that's what you've been trying to interact with as well. And when we think of AI, I think the discussion pretty much goes into two directions. Either it's fair, that what would AI replace? Or it's about efficiency. What would it cut? But I think the more profound question really here is, and the more interesting one, that what would it unlock? For the most part of our history, subject matter expertise has been a closely guarded thing behind the walls of hierarchies, institutions, which normal people do not have access to. So this is the first time in history this disruption has come. Human imagination was never the barrier. The barrier really was our access to those machines who can change all of this. So AI, has changed that in very profound ways, and we'll take a look at how it has changed. Okay, so before I go into a real life example, and especially what Syngenta is doing in terms of that, I just want to lay out what technologies of freedom is. So we're calling those tools, those technologies of freedom. What that really means is that there's no barrier, there's no permission required, there are no middlemen. Rather, you can access those technologies right away at your doorstep. Now, what does that really mean? So this is like a 3-step process that it has to take. So I want you to hold on to that thought. These technologies You don't need any special literacy. You don't need programming. Don't need to be a subject matter expert to access those. Number two, it should run on your own device. So it does not require you to perhaps buy a fancy $1,000 phone or a machine per se. And then the third one, it creates value for the person who's using it. Now, you've interacted with systems which farm us for data, harvest us for user behavior, and then sells attention to advertisers, for that matter. All right. I think one of the panels talked about this figure as well. 68% of women, all employed women in Pakistan, work in agriculture, directly in the farmland, directly in agriculture. Yet, they are absolutely fundamental to the labor force. I don't think any other sector is even close to that kind of representation, but yet, they get very little decision making. They get very little access to information. In the agriculture sector, the information flows through the social fabric of the system. So, those farmer meetings, those social gatherings, word of mouth, dealers, field officers, this is how you get information about what to do, which crop, what weather patterns, what disease, and what decisions to take. And women, unfortunately, are not a very strong part of that social fabric in terms of participation. So at Syngenta, we are about to change that. So we look at our digital AI platforms as what I defined as technologies of freedom. So for example, you have to imagine a woman farmer. A woman farmer, she wakes up and then on her phone, she can take a picture of her crop and then determine, what the disease is or what problem her crop may be facing. And this is leveraged on AI machine learning models at the back end. Instead of going to a farmer meeting she probably doesn't even have access to, she can talk to an AI agent, a conversational AI agent that speaks their language, which is trained on local languages like Punjabi and Sindhi and Saraiki, so on and so forth, and can discuss all of her issues relating to crops, whether, what does the weather mean, what disease, what sort of crop plans she should implement, so on and so forth. And then all along the way, she can even order her inputs digitally and will be delivered to her doorstep. So she doesn't even have to travel and go to franchises, to dealers, and so on and so forth to even get that produced. So that is what we're calling the technologies of freedom, and it is a huge. So right now at Syngenta, we're almost touching 7 million acres of farmland with this technology in Pakistan. All right, and just so that we know that this fits the bill, because Silicon Valley has promised us a lot about democratizing power, but just so that we know it fits the bill, number one, does she need any special literacy? She does not even know, she doesn't even have to prompt AI models. She can talk to this advisory service, these agents in voice, in her own dialect, and get the answers. Does it require any special hardware? No. She just needs her phone, and she keeps the yield, she keeps the decision, so it directly adds value to what she's doing. All right, I want to leave you with the story of Almas Parveen, a female farmer from Vihari, a cotton farmer from Vihari. Just because she had access to information, she was able to increase her yield by 23% while decreasing the overall footprint of the inputs that she was using. She trained 400 plus men and female farmers across her community because she had the drive and somebody gave her access to information. That is the key message. That is about to change. If there's one last thing I'm here to tell you, there's this one message that I think about, the topic being inclusion. Inclusion is not about a sentiment. Almas Parveen, or for that matter, any woman farmer, she was always visible to the field. She did what she needed to do. She did the hard work. She put in the hard miles. She was not visible to the system. And the system is not, it's a system design question, and the system is not a law of physics. Rather, it's a set of choices that we make. And as we speak, AI is rewriting those rules and changing the system. That would be my last thought. Embrace AI, embrace what's coming your way, and be a part of what we call a cybernetic society.